Hey, it's Ted McGrath. I'm here with Garrett Gunderson. So I met Garrett. I probably met you dude, like maybe 12 years ago or something through Mo.
Yeah, man. It was a long
Yeah,
time ago.
in Utah was I met you the first time at your office. So I know a lot's changed since then. You were doing a lot in the financial world, and you still are. But
Yeah.
you've recently also moved into your passion of being an artist as well, and doing comedy, which is pretty cool. And you're in production of all kinds of different stuff, which is really great. So I want to know, first tell us a little bit about the financial world. And I'm kind of curious as to how you balance both worlds between being a financial guy who's grown a big company and also an artist and also your family. Like how does that, how has that all happened and how do you do it all?
I kind of merged the money concepts into the comedy. So
Uh-huh.
like yesterday, I filmed a couple clips where we took a little bit from one of my stand-up sets. We had that be the first part of the video. Then I went into the education behind it. So kind of laugh about it up front, but then kind of teach about it.
Hmm.
Um, I did 15 city tours, so that was a little bit tough, but I hadn't been traveling for so long. So I think my wife was totally cool with it, just being like, hey, you've been home too much, so get out on the road.
Yeah. And what was that like doing the tour and because I mean, that's a lot of work. You had to go fill it and the pressure to get it done. Like I know that when I would go do my play and we did a 6 week run in LA, we had to fill that thing. Now you did 15 different locations. So it must have been hard to
Dude,
manage it all. Tell me about that.
man, I didn't sleep that well during that time. I was like constantly, because you do one city, like we open up in Tempe, we have 275 people there. It's sold out. It feels amazing.
Right.
And the next night we do La Jolla, it's sold out. That feels great. But then I'm like, okay, I'm going to have DC filled up. Who can I go to that are friends that can help fill the venue? And it was kind of like little miracles every time where like people be like, oh, I happen to be, in DC when you're doing your show there. And I have 10 friends I'm bringing with. And so we sold out, I think, 12 of the 15 shows. And the 3 that we didn't sell out were Monday night shows. Monday night, not a great night for comedy. Coming off the week.
Okay. Got it.
Like we did a show just before Thanksgiving on a Monday. We did one right after Thanksgiving on a Monday. Those were the hardest 2 shows to fill. And I was feeling bad because I went up to the club owner in Miami. I'm like, sorry, I didn't sell out. He goes, last Monday they had 60 people. You have 160 people. So I think that's pretty good. I
Dude,
was
that's great.
I was only judging myself on like, did I sell out every time? Did I pack the house? And that was kind of unfair because it was a first time comedy tour. And I was having a blast on stage, but off stage, filling it was just relentless, man. It was just
Oh,
nonstop.
I get it. Yeah. Yeah, dude, it's kind of interesting because you go from you building your financial business and you build it up into power, and then you go into starting this totally new thing from kind of ground zero, right? And filling it in the hustle that comes with it, right?
Right, man. It was like it's a startup at that point. And
Yeah, but that's great. You started filling with 100, 200 people, man. That's amazing. How did you go about doing the marketing for it to get it done? Just friends promoted or
yeah.
advertising?
And I really went to like regionally, like who I knew in the area.
Hmm.
And for example, this guy John Rulin, if you know John, he had EO and YPO buy out the entire thing in St. Louis when I went to St. Louis. So that one was super easy because he did all the work and packed the house.
Right.
Whereas like, I just had other areas where I had a good friend that I'd have open for me that I
Mhm.
knew could do it, that I knew they could do comedy, and then they bring a bunch of people with them, and it's a lot more fun having them kind of open and giving some of them their shot.
Mhm.
So that helped fill some of the venues as well. I mean, we kind of had an affiliate marketing thing that we built.
Yeah.
It's hard because this was a physical event, versus just like something that they could buy digitally. And so we didn't quite get the amount of promotion that we originally anticipated on that. But again, we made it through, dude. Like we got it done. And, I was talking to my manager. He's like, hey, man, I could tell you some of the huge names today. They're first putting 50% of the people in the room. It was rough. So I look at it as a success for sure.
Absolutely, man. A success that you did 15 cities, that you were able to fill the venues, and that you went out and just crushed it. So tell me the genesis of uh, as a kid, were you always, making jokes? Did you see yourself being a comedian? Like, how did this actually spring up and be birthed?
Well, I had this Mormon side of my family and this Catholic side of my family.
Hmm.
And whenever we'd have family events, as a little kid, I'd tell jokes and they would all gather around and listen from the time I was 5 years old. And it'd be the only time I can get away with saying whatever I wanted because I'd learned jokes from my uncles that were too dirty, definitely not age appropriate, but I never got in trouble and everybody just kind of laughed. And so it really felt like a family thing. And then I went to Italy for a summer and had a lot of like downtime when I was there, and just kind of started getting into thinking about hobbies and like what I want to do with the next phase in my life. And when we came home from that trip, I was just taking my wife to a baseball game, telling her some jokes, and she's like, "These are funny. Where'd you come up with these?" I'm like, "From my own brain, babe. These are my jokes." Funny. She might as well said, "You're the best comedian in the world," because that Sunday I was speaking at an event that you were speaking at with Keith Yackey. I think you did your play.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and that was just coming off of Italy. And Keith introduced me as hilarious. He goes, "Oh, our next speaker's hilarious, super funny dude."
Right. Yeah.
And I was like, "I'm giving a financial talk," so I just told some jokes. They went well. So I called my buddy who's a comedian. I said, "Hey man, I have an idea. I want to write a stand-up set. You want to work with me on it?" That next day we spent 2 hours, and then I scheduled my first open mic. And he said, "Hey dude, you're good. You should start opening for us." And so for 2 years it was just a hobby, just out there opening for my buddies and having fun. And then they filmed a special, and when I opened for them, a manager was in the room, and he's like, "Dude, what are you doing with this comedy thing? Like, I think you got something here, especially this money angle." And so I wrote a special and filmed the special in 2021, April of 2021.
That's epic, man. And what was the special? You were telling me about this earlier about the special, but tell me about it.
Yeah, it's called The American Ream. So
yeah. I saw that. I saw it. It was good, man. Yeah. It was really great.
So it's like all the things that money's kind of held people back from, captured by all the misinformation, whether it's about Wall Street or crypto, or whether it's about, insurance or, taxes. Like, I found a way to make all that funny. And so on April 15th, which is a perfect day for the American Ream, that's when we filmed it.
Right.
Had a bunch of amazing people. Set designer designed a set for Chappelle. The lighting guy won an Emmy with the Dancing with the Stars. The director has, I think, 8 Netflix specials. My executive producer, I don't know, he won an Emmy with Chris Rock and Jerry Seinfeld. So it's like I had this amazing team that took it way beyond what I originally had thought I could do.
Right.
And we had this like amazing venue, 2 stories, people up in the balcony, and did 2 shows that night. I was on stage for 4 hours, which I had only been on stage for 33 minutes before that for comedy.
Oh, wow.
Club. Like, right. I prepared through Zooms. I was just doing Zooms from my house and have like 5 or 6 people on a Zoom 5 days a week to just practice the material, get the reps. Because I didn't want to be like one of those comedians that I have this family and then I'm just sitting, at a club for 4 hours at night so I can get 3 minutes on stage.
Right.
I created a better system for me, which was invited friends and family and did it on Zoom, had some people sometimes there live. And that's how I wrote and practiced and made this special happen.
Oh, got it. So you had some people there live so you could perform it, do it. Yeah. And get ready.
The timing is so much better when you have people there live because
absolutely
Zoom's tough. But the other thing is the night before we filmed the special, I did a Zoom where I had like my director watching my mannerisms and we were just kind of doing a final rehearsal. I thought, I'm going to do this really great final rehearsal. And all these people that can't fly into Utah for the special, we'll just do it on Zoom. But everybody had their mics off, their cameras off. So I'm like just talking to a blank screen essentially and just bombed, dude. It was like the worst set ever. And I'm filming with 8 cameras the next day. And my manager just came and grabbed me and goes, "Hey, dude, that's a good omen. Tons of people just bomb their final practice. It's fine. Don't worry."
You got up and you crushed it the next day, dude.
Yeah, and the big difference between the night before and the next day was I was just present. The night before I was like, I'm tired. Do I need to go through my whole set? I'm not getting feedback. I'm like in my head. I'm not thinking about being connected. I'm just like distracted.
Right.
The next day I was just super connected. Like if someone yawned in the crowd, I just made fun of them. I didn't like have, I just like whatever was in my head, the crowd got to hear. It was just
right.
It was just present.
That's so good, man. And so in doing all this, I mean, how have you balanced how much time are you allocating towards this versus your financial company? Tell us about how you position your financial company.
I sold the financial company to my partners. And so,
oh, wow.
Yeah. So I basically do like 2, maybe 3 appearances a month where I'll do like a webinar.
Oh, cool.
Like I did one this week. So, they'll have like 100 people on. I show up, I do the webinar, I do a training. But I don't do any operations. I don't do anything that way. And I just have a licensing deal with them. So it's been nice because then I can work on this stuff every day because I have a one-man show, kind of a play like you do. And I think that's probably 4 or 5 times harder than comedy. It's like, it's so much harder.
Yeah, the one-man show is an interesting journey, isn't it?
The journey of growth. And, you know, like I was with my acting coach this week, Larry Moss, and he was just like, he just brought me to reality, man. Just like, hey, what's going on here? And why are you not enunciating in this dialect? And I'm like, I don't know. I've never done a dialect before like this. And he's like, well, you need a dialect coach. And so it's like, there's just all these layers, you know?
Yeah, right.
Like I'm working on enunciation every single day because I just grew up not enunciating words very well. But
right.
One-man show, it really matters.
Right. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, I'm going to Edinburgh, so we decided to go because we weren't sure with COVID and all that stuff, and now we're going, which is going to be fun. So I'm excited about that. It's going to be cool.
Nice.
So where's your focus now, man? So is it purely on this?
Like basically, I'm focused on content creation and not as much on business. So
content creation, what?
Content creation instead of business. So I'm just focused on, you know, preparing as far as my one-man show and my comedy. Like I'll do a little bit of rehearsal today for the comedy since I have a set tonight. And then, you know, writing a few books, wrote a children's book, and then 2 other books that are going to be, you know, finished in the next month. So it just gives me time to focus on those things. Let everybody else handle the details. So I've had a lot more like time in my calendar the last 2 months, like with free time, like what do I really want to do? Like, you know, really get clear about where I'm headed, what I'm up to, what this all means, how to do it, because it is quite the transition to go from what I was doing before to like comedy, because it's kind of confusing to the marketplace.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And so for you, did you just like, the financial world, are you going to continue to do speaking engagements like you were? Because I know you were speaking a lot. Are you continuing to do that?
Yeah, but primarily like, so this coming week I do comedy in front of 2,000 financial people. And then I do a one-man show for another event. And then I do comedy at Joe Polish's annual event. So like I have those 3 things coming up this week. So that's a pretty packed week. But most of the time when I'm speaking now, it's doing the one-man show. It's not doing a normal keynote.
Got it. Good for you, man. It's exciting.
Hard to go back, man. You know, like a one-man show versus a keynote is like...
Yeah, it's different, right?
Yeah.
It's a totally different game. It feels so much different and so much more fun, and it's creative and it's artistic and it's impactful. I know what you're saying. That's really great, man. And how are you having more fun with it with like your family and stuff? Like you have more free time and time to spend around the family?
Yeah, I had to recover from the tour, so I was like around but not doing anything too special. Like it was a crazy year last year because we sold a house, bought a house, launched a company, did a 15-city tour, filmed a special. You know, like there's just so many things going on that come December, I just relaxed in December. I was like, okay, I'll finish these books. I'll hit that in January. So had a lot of downtime in December, you know, watched TV series with my kids, like just kind of hung out, which isn't normal for me. And that was well, usually I'm doing something all the time, but I was just like recharging the whole time.
That's cool. And for you, what's like the you know, the thinkingness for you as an entrepreneur and an artist of like, in terms of making that transition? Very few people can make that transition and that leap. So how did you think about it? What were your fears? What were your excitements? Tell us about that.
I felt like filming the comedy special and doing that, like I had to confront a lot of my own insecurities and a lot of my own demons, because I mean, I've never really been on stage with cameras for comedy before. And we've got this, you know, all these award-winning people that are behind it. And so it was, you know, was I ready for that stage? Could I get there? I did, but it was like, I really had to like put in my reps every single day. I was literally walking the neighborhood with 3x5 cards. I was making my team listen to new jokes all the time. I'm doing those Zooms. Like I just put in the work every day.
Yeah.
And when it came time for that, like the week of, I didn't really have to keep rehearsing. I knew everything inside and out. I felt really comfortable with it, which was great, because in college I was always last minute procrastination, but this was like compelling enough that I really put myself immersed myself in the work. It was like a daily, practice. I might do 6 hours in a day just working on that, because I didn't really start writing it till November 15th of 2020. And then we filmed it April 15th of 2021. So that's just 5 months basically.
Is this the show?
Memorized, yeah, and to do the whole stand-up show.
Yeah.
So that was most people would probably do the tour first and then film the special. I did it all backwards. I was like, no, we're filming the special first. And but it went, dude, I'm so proud of the work. I'm really happy with it. I think it turned out really, really great. I mean, we've pitched it to a lot of streaming services, and so far we've got no's from 7 of those services, but we're still in communication or in the game with 11 of them. So we'll see what happens.
That's cool, man. And how does that go when you film something like that and then you go pitch it to a streaming service? How did you initiate those contacts? Like, how does somebody go about doing that?
So really, basically through the back door, because I've got Marty Callner, who is a legend in the comedy world. He did Steve Martin's first special. George Carlin was the postman at his wedding. I mean, he's just, he did Robin Williams specials, all this kind of stuff. So he was the 7th employee at HBO, and he created Hard Knocks, which is the longest running show on HBO. So like his name holds weight. And then Barry Katz is my manager, who's got 21 new comedians on a streaming service out of 21, and I'm his 22nd. So I was really confident we'll get there. So they kind of create this email pitch that says, hey, here's what this is. Check it out. They put it on a unique link so we could see, did someone watch it all the way through? How many times have they watched it? And, even though HBO watched it 6 times all the way through and gave us some really nice compliments, they said it's just not the right time for them, and they passed on. But I'm like, dude, that's pretty cool to know that they watched it 6 times. That's like, they obviously considered it. Like,
yeah, for sure.
And so it's kind of like this game where I'm just sitting and waiting at this point, and pretty non-attached. Like, my manager had one special take 3 years to get picked up. That's his longest one. I don't think we'll have to wait that long. Yeah. I mean, we put this together so it's ready to go. Like, the quality of the special is off the charts. With Marty sat in the editing booth with me. I mean, he won an Emmy with Bette Midler, like all the Cher. He did the first music video ever, and I got this master class for 3 different sessions on how to edit. Like, it was like so much more work, because think about it, we had 4 hours of material. About an hour and 20 minutes was all the same. Yeah. And we had like another, 50 plus minutes that were different, and then 2 shows to choose from, and what to cut out, how to like position the camera, like as I'm turning. And I mean, it was just an incredible process to watch. And I don't know, man, it's like, I probably sent you the link because I just am proud of it, and I get all excited about it like a little kid and just start sharing.
Yeah, send it to me, man. I'd love to see it. Yeah. And then what? So somebody who's going into a space who's brand new to doing something like this in any space, like, you've been good at cultivating relationships throughout your career. So when you did this, was it just like, hey, I'm going to continue to move forward and do this, and I'm going to pull in the relationships, or like, how did that happen for you?
So it all started in August of 2019 when Barry saw me do a 10-minute or 12-minute comedy set, and he was like, hey, this is really good. If you ever want to do something with it, give me a call. And so I said, well, I wrote this 2-page document, met with him. I'm like, here's what I'm willing to do and what I'm not willing to do. So I don't know if I'm going to be a good fit for you. And he goes, no, you know what you want. I'm in. So at that point, he kind of got me with some people that write, like for other comedians, and just, meeting with them, talking about what it meant to be a comedian. Like, like I had this material that I tested for 2 years and I was really comfortable with. And then Barry and this guy Lance were like, okay, we need you to go on stage this weekend, and you can't do any joke you've done before. It just has to be completely new content, new material. If it doesn't land, it's fine. We just want you to get out of that comfort zone. And so it took me about a year of going through that type of stuff. Yeah. And finally it was like, all right, I flew out to Malibu, spent 2 days, outlined the whole special with my manager, and then came back, worked with this guy that I first wrote jokes with, and that I opened for years. And he directed part of the special, because we filmed like this money rap, or this poem that goes before the special. It's like all the different names of money in this arrangement we created. So I don't know, man, it's like, it was insane the amount of work that went into it, but it was like really rewarding and really difficult at the same time. Like, just knowing jokes aren't quite ready and they're not landing. So like, what do I got to do to change those jokes up? Or, what stays, what doesn't? And what about just like, sometimes there's only one person on Zoom and it's super hard to be funny to one person,
Right. Yeah.
Dealing with the psyche of being like, oh, that really sucked, and being okay with it.
Right. Yeah. And for you, because you're a speaker too, so do you ever look back and be like, great, so my first times on stage, how did I feel then comparatively to now as my first times doing comedy? Did you ever think about what's that like?
Yeah, man. And thank God I had spoken for 20 years. Because I feel like half of it's just stage presence and being comfortable on stage, which I'm more comfortable on stage than in any other place, basically.
Right.
So that was helpful. But you've seen me speak where I'm super intense, I'm fast. But in comedy, it's different than that. It's slow. They have to hear every single word. There's got to be beats and pauses for the laughter to come through. So it was like rewiring and retraining. But it just became very, very fun and natural over time. I mean, I just did the Comedy Store in La Jolla for 2 shows, and standing ovations both shows. The owner came up and was just like, dude, this is one of the most unique performances. I can't believe you're not on a streaming service yet. So like, I've gotten massively better in a short period of time, just because how many comedians are, a year in to their career and then they filmed a special,
right?
15 city tour where sometimes I didn't even have an opener. So I just did an hour and a half on my own. Like, so a lot of reps in,
Yeah, it's a lot of reps. And for you, like, doing what you're doing now and transitioning out of the financial space, I know that Dan Sullivan's been a mentor of yours for years. Yeah. Like for you, how much of transitioning your business and selling it had to do with your concept of, hey, my unique ability is this, and I'm going to set up my life that way?
Yeah, I was really clear that entertainment is the gateway to transformation.
Right.
I had been stuck in this paradigm of educating with a touch of entertainment. So once I understood that, and I felt so excited and compelled by comedy and this one-man show, like, it was an easy decision. I made it quick. Like, yeah, I'm going to sell the business. It was like in a moment. But then acclimating to, okay, I'm now a comedian. I don't go to my normal moves of like, I could go teach a financial seminar for 3 days and do really well and impact people. Like, I'm giving up all the things that I knew that I had done over and over again, but at the same time, I wasn't as inspired by, because it became more like process oriented and not like, I just did a masterclass last month where we did the 2 comedy shows the night before, and then we do the masterclass. And the masterclass is impactful, but it's just not even close to as fun as doing comedy.
Yeah.
It's like, so I have this peak experience and then it's just okay afterwards. So
I
just felt that contrast and really feeling like the impact of doing something that I don't love to do just because I'm good at it.
Right.
And I'm definitely shaping that differently and doing a lot less of that.
That's awesome. And so the decision was pretty fast for you. Once you knew, you rocked and rolled. That's probably that 10 quick start on a Colby for you. It's probably what.
Dude, it's like I have a dream one night about a one-man show. A dream.
Yeah.
And I pick up and I turn to my wife. I go, hey, I'm going to do a one-man show. She's like, what's that? I'm like, I'll explain later. And I called this guy, Michael Port. I don't know if you know Michael.
I know of him. Somebody mentioned to me. Yeah. What's his background, Michael?
So he was an actor and then a keynote speaker. And then he has this thing, Heroic Public Speaking, where he teaches people how to speak. And he uses like the process that an actor would go through in how they, even if they were to write a script, or like what they do to create like table read. And he brings that to the speaking profession. So it really takes people to another level. And I called him because I had gone to this event that he was hosting called the A-Lister. And it was on day 2. He's like, all right, do something that you're uncomfortable with on stage. And so I was trying to work through this story, and it was like 30 minutes of pain because I just wasn't doing well with the story. And he's coaching me in front of my peers. So when I had that dream about doing a one-man show, I called him first because I'm like, well, he challenged me big time. And he caught the vision within moments when I told him this is what I want to do. He's like, absolutely, that's the future of keynoting. And so we worked on it for a couple of years.
That's great, man. What a fun process, huh?
Yeah, man.
What do you? So obviously you're most excited about this, but what aspect are you most excited about? What's coming up? Your next project or your next show?
I'm like reluctantly excited about a conversation I had with a major producer that wants to do a TV series.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, what I want to do is I want to take what Jon Stewart did for politics, but do that kind of a format for finance.
Right.
So do some skits, do some, monologues around money, and just, bring some other comedians on. So we've been in talks about producing that, which is exciting. But at the same time, I kind of like the space that I'm just able to go out and perform. Like I have a show tonight and tomorrow night. And like, I like that I just have some opportunity to enjoy all the work for a little bit before I just dive in right to the next project.
That's great. And our the shows tonight is in Utah and tomorrow night in Utah.
Yeah, the probably the club that I've been on stage more than any other club in the world, but always as an opener. So tonight's my first time headlining this club. I wasn't responsible for filling the venue. The club took care of that. They just cut me a check to show up and perform. But I don't know, man. This is a fun club. It's like in a blue collar town. Like the crowd's always pretty damn fun. They're really good, like sports. If I make fun of that town.
Mm-hmm.
But I have like 20 people coming tonight that haven't seen me do comedy yet or barely saw me a few years ago. So I'm excited to share with them.
Good for you, man. So are you constantly always just promoting it? Anybody you know that you want to come, like, hey, come to my show, and just getting the message out as much as possible?
I definitely hoard myself out for the tour. I've kind of taken it a little bit easier now. Like, I might shoot a little text to someone, but I don't really like do any follow-up or pressure them, because if they've seen the show once, I don't really want to pressure them to come see it a second time.
Yeah.
But
it's cool though. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's fun. The whole process. I know what you're talking about. The whole process of going through it and getting the rooms filled and showing up and doing it and being excited and getting nervous backstage, man. It's the best, dude. And then you get done and there's this excitement and exhilaration, right? That's nothing like no other stage talk you've ever done, right? Like nothing.
Yeah. It's amazing, man. Like, so I'm excited for that tonight.
That's awesome, buddy. Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's great to connect with you and just reconnect with you prior to this, having you come on here and just hearing what you're doing. It's an inspiration, man. I remember
you loved the way you were doing the play before I had the dream to do a play.
Thanks, man. Yeah.
Thanks,
man. Yeah. I just kind of, just like you, just stepped in. I mean, I remember meeting you 12 years ago or whatever it was, and Mo introduced us, and I remember how fast you moved on things and how bright you were and how sharp you were. And so I can see somebody like you to just go and jump in and go do it, and that's what it, if you want to do something, that's what it takes. And my last question for you is this, you're going to make this shift. Like, people see you as a financial guy. How was that like around people around you, either believing in you, some who believed in you and some who maybe didn't believe in you? What was that like in terms of you having to overcome that?
The amount of like belief and support were amazing. Like when I did the DC show, we went to dinner the next night, and I was talking to this guy, Joe McClinsky, and he's like, dude, what you're doing, we're watching, we're noticing, it's inspiring. Like, he's like, it's so cool to see you go after this. Like, and he promoted the hell out of the DC show, came to the DC show. So like, I had a lot of support. Like, people would fly in to shows, like some people came to more than one stop on the tour. My friend Trevinia, who has one of the best laughs, she came to multiple places. She came to Austin. She came to Miami. She came to Utah when we filmed. So it was really cool to see that kind of outpouring. I didn't have too many doubters or anyone that was really thinking it wasn't I had some people say, hey, if you just did comedy and didn't make it about money, I think it would be even better. I had one person say that, but I'm like, nobody's doing comedy around money. So it's just the blue ocean. It's
a blue ocean. It's such a perfect fit for you and your journey and your life story, which is amazing. Yeah.
Right.
Well, way to kill it, dude. Keep me updated. Let's stay in touch, buddy. You're awesome. Okay. Yeah.
Thanks for having me on, man. It was really good to catch up.
Yeah. Likewise, man. Okay, bud. Take care. Have a great show tonight. Okay.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Bud. Yeah.